Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.
Order. I have the honor to inform the House that the Clerk of the House has received from the Chief Electoral Officer a certificate of the election and return of Mr. Jivani, member for the Electoral District of Durham.
Mr. Speaker, it is an honor to present to you Jamil Jivani, the honourable member for Durham. He has taken the oath, signed the roll, and now takes the right to claim his seat.
Jamil Jivani is living, breathing proof that people can take control and radically transform themselves from a wannabe criminal to a lawyer, scholar, and thinker. Chief on his mind, why young men end up on the wrong path and how they can be turned around.
Hello everyone, what's up? Just Aaron right here, Question Period Canada. How's everybody doing today? We recognize Jamil Jivani from the introduction. That was him officially being introduced to the House of Commons back in April by PIERRE Poilievre. And he is the newest member of the House of Commons. He's not the youngest. He's one of the youngest, though. This guy is on fire. He's making a big difference in the House of Commons already. He has a big effect. You can feel his presence in the committees. His impact is being noticed by these Liberals. He knows all of Trudeau's playbook tactics. He knows all about that. We've seen.
Now, I am aware that there is a Liberal playbook that gets used against people who disagree with this Prime Minister. You know, based on our history, I don't think that's going to go so well for him.
And now, Pierre Poilievre's new candidate in Durham is a twofer.
Now, I'm not exactly sure what that means in reference to a human being.
We're going to take another good look at Jamil Jivani. He's very interesting, guys. These latest clips from where he's taking over the House of Commons and these committees, he's super interesting, and he's got some other cool clips too. Let's take a peek at Jamil Jivani, guys. He's something to watch.
But taking taxes aside, I think it's important to note that this is liberal orthodoxy. The idea that there's only one way that you could stand up for the middle class and push back against elites. The truth is it's much more complicated. And Pierre Poilievre has ideas on how to do that. He has ideas on how to fight for the middle class. Many of them are about stepping up against overregulation, stopping the overregulation of our businesses, of our lives. And that is something that is important for middle class.
Jamil Jivani here, Member of Parliament for Durham. I'm here in Whitby today, visiting my neighbors to the west to talk about the impact of Trudeau's taxes. The Conservative Party has put forward a proposal asking the Prime Minister to give Canadians a break, pause his carbon tax and fuel taxes this summer, which would save the average Ontario family $592 between now and Labor Day. Unfortunately, the Liberal MP for Whitby, Ryan the Taxman Turnbull, does not support this proposal. So we've been asking his constituents in Whitby, what do they want? What would they do with an extra $592 this summer? Some of the answers we've heard: pay university tuition, pay off debt, take their kids out this summer before school starts, pay bills, pay for gas for a road trip to Newfoundland, or help their daughter buy a house and stay in Canada. These are serious issues, and for the average family, $592 would go a long way this summer. So we're here in Whitby letting our neighbors know there's hope. We have a common sense leader in the Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, who we believe will help get Canada back on track and send a strong message to Justin Trudeau and Taxman Turnbull.
Numerous occasions, the Justice Minister has made reference to me being the newest MP here. The Minister his government has been in power for 9 years, and in those 9 years, people's lives have gotten harder. Criminals have been allowed to get in and out of courthouses like a turnstile, and the Minister is continuously putting communities at risk. You've had 9 years, and look at what has happened.
Indicate to the member opposite is that persons who are released on bail through an independent decision made by a Justice of the Peace in Ontario are subject often to conditions of release that are tailored to their specific situation. Always the key concerns are deterring a repeat offence, ensuring that you're sending a message, and also ensuring that there isn't a flight risk.
There's 17 seconds left if the honourable member has a question.
I'll use the 17 seconds to say that the Justice Minister clearly needs to humble himself, admit this Liberal government's mistakes, stop allowing repeat offenders back on the street, and actually keep our neighborhoods and our communities safe. While I'm here and I have the chance to speak here, I'd also like to draw attention to some local issues. My home community of Durham is home to many families who feel the economic pressure that the Deputy Prime Minister has created with inflationary spending and a regressive carbon tax. According to Durham Region's Health Department, 16.4% of households in Durham Region are considered food insecure. In short, that means that over 16% of households in Durham Region report that they are either worried that the food they have in their house will run out, that they will be having to compromise on the type of food or the amount of food that they eat, or they will have to skip meals. This is a very real problem attributable to both food inflation and the rising cost of basic living. And I must say that it is a real shame that the Liberal MP for Whitby, my neighbor to the west, continues to downplay this problem. Ryan Turnbull, the Liberal MP for Whitby, sorry, I just got to pause and as I shudder. He is the parliamentary secretary for the Deputy Prime Minister, and I have seen him personally over the last few weeks stand in the House of Commons and paint a false picture of the very serious economic problems impacting Canada, Durham Region, and Whitby in particular. Now, the relevance to this is that Mr. Turnbull has put forward a way of measuring success and progress in the economy that the Deputy Prime Minister should probably answer to.
Mr. Speaker, grocery price inflation is coming down. 1.4% in April, down from 1.9% a month before. This is encouraging news, certainly for Canadians, but it's important to know that our government put forward the most comprehensive package of competition reforms in Canadian history. Why? Because more competition equals better prices. But it's a bit rich for the Conservatives to point to food bank lineups when they oppose a national school food program that's going to feed over 400,000 kids across Canada.
Let me provide some examples, shall I? 2 weeks ago, the Liberal MP for Whitby, Mr. Turnbull, stood in the House, Deputy Prime Minister's parliamentary secretary, and cited Warren Buffett to explain that the Liberal carbon tax economy is going great.
Madam Speaker, Conservatives talk down our economy every day in this House, while in reality Canada's economy has shown great resilience despite the global shocks that it's been under. We have the lowest debt to GDP ratio, the lowest deficit in the G7, a AAA credit rating that's been reaffirmed. Warren Buffett, while talking about investing in Canada, says we do not feel uncomfortable in any way, shape or form putting money into Canada. The IMF, in the most recent fiscal monitor, rated Canada as #1 for budget balance, and this year's budget puts our healthy national balance sheet to work.
He said Warren Buffett is not uncomfortable putting his money into Canada, quoting the American billionaire as if that's evidence that this government's inflationary spending is good for Canadians. Now, this naturally raises a question of how is this government, how is the parliamentary secretary to the Deputy Prime Minister, how is the Minister of Finance measuring what a successful and progressive economy looks like? Is it Warren Buffett's opinion? Is it the economic outlook of an American billionaire? Or is it much more serious measures? For example, increasing demand at food banks, which I would say is a much more serious measure of whether the carbon tax economy is actually good for Canada. And it would be very important and I think helpful to the Canadian people if the Deputy Prime Minister is called before this committee to have a fulsome discussion of how exactly the economy is being measured. How exactly is this government determining that this is a good economy for the Canadian people?
Mr. Speaker, I am grateful to the communities of Clarington, North Oshawa, and Scugog for electing me to fight for them and their families. We are a diverse riding that brings together working class and middle class families from all cultural backgrounds. This is why I must oppose the NDP Liberal government's elitist ESG policies and divisive diversity, equity, and inclusion agenda. ESG and DEI are smokescreens, allowing big businesses and liberal politicians to create a false sense of progress while life gets harder in this country. Conservatives stand for all Canadians, no matter what you look like or where your parents are from.
So yeah, guys, that is it. Jamil Jivani, we'll be back with more on him and everything that we're learning and sharing about Canadian federal politics. It'll be right here. That's why you should like, subscribe, get notified, share, leave a comment. Tell me what you'd like to see, what you don't want to see any more of. Till the next video, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching this one. Ciao. So yeah, guys, that is it. Jamil Jivani, we'll be back with more on him and everything that we're learning and sharing about Canadian federal politics. It'll be right here. That's why you should like, subscribe, get notified, share, leave a comment. Tell me what you'd like to see, what you don't want to see any more of. Till the next video, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching this one.